Alright, good people of YouTube, I have the watch idiot and I find myself stuck in the middle of nowhere. No civilization around for about 500 miles, and I've only got my my phone, my camera, Citizen Promaster diver, solar quartz at least in case I'm here for you know, many months, and one snickerdoodle cookie. Yeah. Well, I mean, that and a bridge with cars over there, but we'll gloss over that. Yeah. Good people YouTube, you joined me outside today because just the other day I noticed that my Citizen Promaster diver, the solar eco drive, was kind of dying because it was ticking every 2 seconds, which is how it lets you know that it's starting to die. So I figured that I might as well make an outing out of it, just to get it charged up back up to its full life. And then also I figured that I might as well make a video out of it. And just wearing it again, I realized how much value is packed into this watch, and it's amazing. And also, as a self-proclaimed Seiko fanboy, a very critical Seiko fanboy for that matter, but it also shows me like Seiko needs to step up. And I know I've been saying that a lot, but they really do. So yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so now we're back inside, and yeah, let's just do the numbers first. And the main numbers are the case width of 44 millimeters and the lug to lug of 49.5 millimeters and a thickness of only 11.6 millimeters, and finally a lug width of 20 millimeters, which is awesome. And I put air quotes around the 44 millimeters just because it absolutely does not wear like a 44 millimeter watch. It wears much smaller, like a 42 millimeter watch, and maybe if you're stretching it, a big 41 millimeter watch. I mean, it's pretty crazy, and that really just comes down to the size of the dial versus the bezel versus the insert versus the case, all the proportions over there. And then also on top of that, the lug to lug is 49.5 millimeters, which sounds like a lot, but the lugs are super short and stubby, so they curve down quite a bit, and all that results in the lugs kind of fading away into the background, visually at least. And bringing everything in together is that it's only 11.6 millimeters thick, and that it wears super close to the wrist, so you won't be dealing with a giant unwieldy thing when it's on your wrist. And for the start of the love section, we're gonna head back outside for a bit. Yeah, so one of my main loves about the watch is just the fact that it's gonna be super tough, and it's gonna be more than okay for anything with real life. And I know that that's pretty much the case with any dive watch, just because, you know, they're gonna be water resistant, they're quite reliable, they have simple movements and stuff like that. But in this case, I like the fact that it is quartz, because no matter what anyone says, a quartz watch will always be more robust than a mechanical one, just because there are less moving parts. Okay, and then also I guess part of the toughness aspect of it is that it's something that I actually just noticed today when I got out and wore my backpack over here, is that the bezel is completely flush. And what that means is that everything will just like kind of slide over it. So a backpack strap, whatever you might be, if you're, you know, just getting close to a tree or something like that, there's less chance of it snagging onto anything and potentially breaking off. And then also on top of that, it's a very thin case, so even less clearance, even more clearance to get through, more clearance to less clearance, less chance of getting snagged on anything, which makes it better for real life. And actually I would probably take this as my adventure watch more than anything else. So yeah, there's that. Okay, so now we're back inside because we need to take a closer look at the dial and the handset, because they're pretty awesome. And the dial is matte black, and aside from direct sunlight, you can't really see the solar cells underneath it. I mean, and Citizen does an amazing job with their dials on their eco drive watches. I mean, most of them you can barely ever tell that it even has solar cells underneath. And we've got some hour markers that have what's probably a silver painted surround, considering that it's only slightly raised from the dial, but either way, it's a nice little touch of dimension, I guess. But of course, the shape of the indices are what makes it really cool. The 3, 6, and 9 indices are sort of a pentagonal shield shaped looking thing with an extra little silver flourish on the inside edge. And then we've got not only a bigger version of these indices at 12, but it's kind of notched in the middle, which gives it a strong muscular appearance, which really suits the watch's tool aesthetic. And then also when it's loomed up, it looks really cool too. So in the world of dive watches, we always end up seeing pretty much the same combination of indices, usually triangles, circles, rectangles, maybe some squares, little variations on all those. So when I see a watch that, you know, has indices that I haven't seen before, it really captures my attention, and I appreciate that Citizen has their own design language shining through on this dial. And Citizen's design language comes through once again through the handset, because we have a modern cathedral-ish, I guess you can call, hour hand that is angular and sharp looking, and then we have an orange minute hand shaped with an arrow on the top with a little bar in the middle. And yeah, this could have been a super boring minute hand, but it isn't. I mean, I love seeing the pops of colors on dials, so it being orange is mega, and also it just has a little bit of extra dimension to it because it's like tapering and everything like that. But yeah, it's just nice. Oh, and the seconds hand lines up with every single second mark, which is awesome to see considering that the more expensive Tissot PRX, and it's technically Swiss, couldn't manage to do that. And yeah, either way, I'm glad that Citizen is doing well on that end. And this could be a separate love for me, but the lume on this watch is awesome because it's blue, which is my favorite color of lume. And I have really, actually, I don't know what kind of lume Citizen uses, but it's probably their own proprietary thing, but it's really good. It looks smooth when it's all charged up, but when you look at it really closely, you can see that it's not completely even, so it's applied only a bit better than SKX's. And the shape of the hands and the indices look really cool when they're charged up, and that adds so much to the overall experience of the entire package. So the case and bezel are very much to my liking because the bezel doesn't have the ubiquitous coin edge bezel, which is effective, but it's on like almost every single watch. But instead, what we've got are very grooved teeth that only appear at every other hour, and it looks pretty cool that way. And the nice thing is that the insides of those grooves are polished, which gives the watch a little extra touch of flair, I guess you can say. And in terms of grip, it's pretty good because you can obviously get a lot of purchase with those grooves, and even with gloves while I'm driving or adventuring, it's an easy bezel to turn. And there's just a little bit of play on the bezel when you move it around, which isn't that big of a deal for me. But the big thing is that the bezel is aligned, which is something that Seiko can rarely say, which is a shame to say as much as I love Seiko. The case is a simple affair. It's all brushed, which I love seeing, and maybe I would have loved a little bit of extra flourishes on it, but I mean, it is a tool watch in the end, and it's a tool watch that I would actually use as a tool watch, so I think the simple brushed finish suits the watch overall in this case. Oh, and then also a nice detail is the crown, because it's nice and grippy, but it's also signed, and not only is it signed, the finish is really cool because the Promaster logo is polished with a sandblasted background, so overall looks really cool. Finally, I just love how much watch you're getting for usually way less than $250. I mean, you're getting a full-on tool diver that's rated to 200 meters, and Citizen has an amazing history of awesome dive watches, so you'll know that it's going to be more than okay no matter what situation you put it in, especially if you're actually going to be diving with it. And once again, for all the reasons I just laid out well, previously, you know, the great handset, the great movement, the indices, the seconds hand actually lining up, all that I feel is going pretty much above and beyond for what I'm expecting at $250. And yeah, once again, you can find it for probably less than that. You know, I've got some links down in the description. Oh, and I forgot to mention this before, but it was something that absolutely just shocked me when I first got this watch, and that was the box, if you can call it that it came in. I mean, just look at this thing. It's a little oxygen tank. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. And just imagine if this watch was your first dive watch or your first watch. I mean, the excitement and the sense of occasion would be immense. I mean, and based off of my experience, even after owning, you know, God knows how many dive watches before this, I got unbelievably excited when I saw this, and when I also opened it up to reveal the watch, it was just so awesome. Look at that. So I will be the first person to say that I would much rather have the brand spend more money on the watch itself, but in this occasion, the watch itself is worth the price alone. So getting a good watch and getting it in this box, all for $250, $250, And getting it in a box that is this memorable for $200, $250 is just incredible. This, on the other hand, is a Seiko box. Yeah, I mean, and this is for a watch that's more expensive. The Citizen is just very clearly showing that you can make a great watch and you can give the customer an awesome experience and also offer it at a great price. You don't have to jack up the prices to give all these things. It's so stupid. So this is pretty much my only dislike of the watch, and it's a pretty big one, but also at the same time, it's not that big because of a couple of reasons, and that's the rubber strap that it came with. So in terms of design, I absolutely love it. It's an accordion style strap, which is meant to stretch and contract with your wrist in different pressures, and I love the extra ventilation holes. I love the way that the top of the strap extends out and tapers back in. And the main thing I love about it is the no deco table, which is a really, really cool detail to include, and it makes this watch feel even more like the tool watch that it is. Also, the way to read the table is first you have to know the depth that you're currently at, and then you find that on the table, and then the time corresponding to that depth is how long you can stay at that depth without needing to make a decompression stop on your way up to the surface, because if you don't do that, then you can potentially get the bends and die. So that's a problem. But the main issue with the strap is that it is really stiff, and not quite as stiff as the garbage strap that came in with the SKXs, but definitely a better quality strap, but it's still stiff. And this was really irritating for me at the start because it was really just pinching the top of my wrist quite a bit, which is something I cannot stand, which is actually a problem that the Pelagos rubber strap has, so I mean, go figure. But I found a way around it because the stiffness wasn't the main issue. I just needed it to curve around my wrist. So if you have a stiff strap that you need to curve, all you need to do is put the strap in a small coffee mug so that they bend and line the circumference of the bottom of the mug, and then you boil some water, pour it in, and then you wait and let it sit there for about like 5 minutes-ish, something like that. And then you get rid of the hot water, then you put in some cool water to make sure that the strap forms and stays in that new curved position. I mean, if it wasn't for this technique, I probably wouldn't have had such a good experience with this watch. So yeah, but that strap adds so much to the overall experience. So there you have it. Let me know down in the comments, what you think about the watch. If you want one, if you have one, if you love it, you hate it, what do you think about the overall value proposition that it offers? So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button and the little thumbs up button. And if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, or maybe if you forgot to subscribe earlier, hit the subscribe button now. It's okay. I forgive you. Don't worry about it. And yeah, until the next video, good day.